flesh colored thread, not embroidery thread. It gives a smoother seam. Keep in mind, your final result is only going to be as good as your sewing capability. So because I am not an expert sewer, this will be okay. You can take, if the injury is in the trunk, you can take the head off to work inside if you feel it's worth it. I find putting the stuffing back in properly more of a pain in the butt than it's worth. So I just tend to work like this. With something like the legs and the arms, unless you're an expert sewer and you can take the arms and legs off, which I'm not and have never done, this is how I do it. So I pick one end of the injury or one end of the run. You can use the same basic process to fix up a run. And I go in from underneath so that the knot is going to be underneath so you can't see it. And basically we're going to draw together the two sides of the injury. If it's too wide, this will not work. Something like this is probably stretched, is about as far as you're going to want to go, but you have to give it a try. So basically I start at the bottom and I pick up a little on this side and then I pick up a little on that side. Now, if you want to make this smaller, you can start down here and sort of work up to it. Just depends on what you're kind of going for, but one side, pick up a bit on the other side, and then pull it together. And basically you're going to do that all the way up. The smaller the stitches, the better, obviously. And don't pick it up too close to the injury because it might, fray away. You want enough that you've picked up, but don't pick up too much either. That makes the scar bigger than it needs to be. So as you go along, you're going to find you're going to want to kind of push it in and try not to make where you're grabbing from any wider than it has to be, because that's just going to make it wider at the other end as you taper off. But so as you close up, and make sure, especially if it's a run, make sure you go to the end of the run. You don't want it getting picked up anywhere. And so as you come towards the end, the idea is to try and make the space that you're pulling together smaller and smaller so that you don't end up with a big loop at the end. Now this one looks like it's gonna come out again because there's more rip there at the top. Now keep in mind there's a lot of different ways to do this. I am not an expert sewer. I taught myself to do this, so you do whatever works for you or whatever you might have a skill for doing something that I've never even heard of. And if it works for you, you go for it. So as you get to the end, your final little pull through should just be kind of pulling the last little bits together. Now, you've got two ways you can tie it off. You can knot it off right here. If you're close to an ankle or a seam or a back of an ankle, you can also send your needle through and put your knot in at a spot where it's not as likely to get noticed. So I'm going to run this down to the foot, to the ankle here. Now don't pull too hard because as you'll see, if you pull it, it's going to indent. But now I can just do my little knot down in here and it's not as likely to get noticed.